Hello, this is James. I find myself farming Bandit Keith for reloads. I currently have 0 reloads, and I would like some in order to make an even more consistent and even more cheesy deck for the Tethys Cyber Angels. And I've been using the Destiny Hero, the conventional deck, the Destiny Hero Plasma deck to farm Keith. And that works by having Destiny Hero Plasma negate all of his monsters' coin flip effects. And that works okay, but it takes a long time, and while you're waiting on summoning Plasma, you're still subject to Keith's coin flips. So if he plays the card that lets him flip extra coins, then your success rate is going to go way down, and you spend all that time summoning your vermin and messing around with Troop Dragon, and it's rather frustrating. So we need to take, and even when you get Plasma out, he can still die to a double rare metal morph. So we need to take those extra turns away from Keith with a cheese deck. So this deck uses, it's very similar to the Tethys Cyber Angels deck in that it uses Tethys' effect to draw a bunch of fairies and draw your entire deck into your hand, and then when we have our entire deck in our hand, we'll have a fully powered up Slifer that we're going to summon with a combination of our 3 monsters, Wadapon, Tethys, and Arrival Rivals. So you either let Keith damage you, or otherwise make your opening play with one of your level 4 fairies, and then once you have 1500 damage, which is very likely because all of Keith's monsters do at least 1500 damage, all of his small monsters, and then the one that doesn't is 1400, it's the Cyberhawk, but he always powers it up with Machine Conversion Factory. So once you've taken 1500 damage, Monster Morph on Mokuba, Monster Morph one of your level 4 fairies into your Tethys Goddess of Light. Now you don't need 2 of these if you only got 1 from the pick your rewards, but it is recommended because otherwise I don't think Monster Morph works on monsters that aren't in the deck. So anyway, you Monster Morph your Tethys, and then you can either survive for a turn, which is possible because Tethys has a pretty high attack, or better, there's a 60% chance. We'll get into the math at the very end, but there's a 60% chance of getting a magical mallet in the first 5 cards that you draw, and that's the key to Tethys. So you have your Tethys out, and then you play magical mallet, and then you dump all of your fairy monsters into your back into your deck, and then you draw the same number of cards, and if you drew even 1 fairy, Tethys' effect takes place, and then you can keep drawing fairies until you draw a non-fairy, and that's one of these 5 cards. Your Slifer, your Rival Rivals, or well, once you play Magical Mallet, you'll have 2 remaining. And then hopefully you get your second Magical Mallet, and which is likely because you're dumping and reshuffling so many cards that there's a high chance that you will be able to draw your entire deck out. And then, so it is the intention of this deck that the Arrival Rivals and the Slifer, the Sky Dragon, they get caught up in the Magical Mallet blowback. And the way we're gonna, so because you Monster Morphed your Tethys and then you're working on that same turn, Keith's monsters are still in an aggressive posture. So we can draw our entire deck and still be able to attack for lethal damage that turn because his traps aren't that bad. So we don't need any secret paths, and we don't need any anti-magic arrows. If we get our maxed out Slifer out on the field, then we are ready to win. So, and the way we're going to summon Slifer is, so we have Tethys is drawing our fairies, and then when we draw our Wadapons, Wadapon's effect is as follows. if this card is added from your deck to your hand by card effect, you can special summon this card. So this applies for either Tethys or Magical Mallet. So when you get your Wadapons added to your hand, there'll be a prompt, and then you'll say heck yes, and you will click on Wadapon, and he will get special summoned. So once you've drawn your entire deck, you will have your monster morphed Tethys and your 2 Wadapons, and then you can either attack with Tethys to guarantee the over 10,000 damage strike with Slifer, or if you're afraid of her getting rare Metal Morph trapped, you can just go ahead and, in the battle phase, normal summon Arrival Rivals, tribute your 3 monsters for Slifer the Sky God, and generally you'll have at least 10 cards in your hand, and Slifer will be able to do over 9,999 damage. And you attack for game. So let's show how that works. Let's go find it. Let's go catch us a bandit. Alright, so here's level 40, Bandit Keith. I have a bunch of red keys. And begin our duel. We're going second, which is worse for us. Oh, but okay, so here we have a Magical Mallet. So this is going to go well. Here's a Meltiel, and since he's probably going to play a second monster, yeah, you know what? We're not going to play anything. We're just going to let it ride. So he tributes for the Blowback Dragon. Okay. So here, alright, we're going to normal summon our Meltiel, and we're going to activate Monster Morph Evolution. And you don't need 2 Tethys, but having one is recommended. Okay, so now that we have our Tethys and our Magical Mallet, we don't need her to survive a turn. We can just begin. And so what you want to do with your Magical Mallet is everything that is a fairy. Everything that is a fairy in your hand is going to go back into the deck. That's Magical Mallet. We're not going to send back our Arrival Rivals. Okay, so, okay, this is great. So we drew a fairy, and we drew our Slifer, and we drew another fairy. As long as we get one fairy, we get to go back into the deck. And so we're going to reveal a fairy. And we're also going to activate Wadapon. Make sure you activate him when you have the chance. We're going to put him in defense position. Okay. We drew another fairy. We're going to... Tethys lets us draw again. Drew another fairy. Tethys lets us draw again. Alright, now we drew a Magical Mallet. So we're going to shuffle. Alright, and we can't lose at this point. We're going to shuffle our 3 fairies into... So that's the second Magical Mallet. So there's only Magical Mallets and fairies left in the deck at this point. Alright, since we drew a fairy, we get to go Tethys. And we have our 2 of our non-fairy cards out already. So we have our 2 win condition cards. Alright, so this farm will succeed. Activate Tethys, Goddess of Light. Yes. 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 And you don't, yeah, but you don't need these strong fairies with these 1800 attack point fairies. It's just, it helps their survivability in case the farm goes south. So here's our third and final magical melee. We're doing this for the last Wadapon. That's what we need. Alright, so since there's only fairies left in the deck, we are just going to go ahead and we don't need to return all of our cards. We are just going to return some fairies, and then we're gonna draw more. All right, so there's our fairy, our Duel, and then the last one should be our Watapon, and we're gonna activate the effect of Watapon. All right, now we're all set up. All right, so because there's no trap cards, we're gonna go ahead and attack with Tethys so that we can get maximum score. We're not gonna do that yet. We're gonna clear the Blowback Dragon, and then we're gonna play Arrival Rivals, okay? And we're going to tribute summon our Slifer the Sky God. And that, and that. Isn't that nice? 11,000 attack, straight to the face. The bandit is caught and jailed. Okay. So we have Quick Victory, cards in the brink, Prismatic card, well, that's from the Slifer, over 990 damage, spells, Tribute Summon, Special Summon, and Summon a Divine Monster, and we have our campaign bonus, and ooh! We got a reload. Oh, I love it. Alright, so that went well. That's not always how this deck is going to go, because we're not always going to have our Magical Mallet, or now we have a reload. We can add reload. We are not always going to have our Magical Mallet within the first 5 cards. That's basically how the success rate of the deck is. Are you going to get the shuffle card in either the first 4 cards of your hand or the first card that you draw? So your first 5 cards. So to discuss the success rate, we are going to do some math. So, but fear not, I am with you. Here we are with our math. This is the Hypergeometric Calculator. If you Google search Hypergeometric Calculator, it's the first thing that comes up. And this is used to assess the chance that you'll get at least one of the cards that you want. So like I said, we have 20 cards, and we have our Magical Mallet, and basically the win condition is if in the first 5 cards do we draw our Magical Mallet. In the first 5 cards do we draw one of our 3 Magical Mallets. So for population size, we're going to put the number of cards in our deck, which in this case is 20. The number of successes in the population, so that's the card, whatever card that we happen to be interested in, and in that case that's our 3 Magical Mallets. And the sample size is 5, so that's, I'm counting 4 cards that you draw when you start, and then your 5th card that you draw on the turn that you draw your card. Alright, so our sample size is 5, and number of successes in the sample. All we need is 1. I'm greatly simplifying the math here, because it's like, does he, you know, do you, when you shuffle your cards and get cards back, do you get a fairy? Do you draw both of your Tethyses, in which case Monster Morph Evolution wouldn't work? Is he able to get out Barrel Dragon out on turn 1, in which case the farm doesn't work? So we're just simplifying. This farm works if we get a Magical Mallet in the first 5 cards. Alright, so number of successes in sample is 1. Okay? Alright, and we're going to calculate, and so we have 5 probabilities here. So the hypergeometric probability of P of getting X equal to 1, so drawing 1 card of the 3 with 5 chances out of a 20 card deck, we have a 46% chance. Alright, the probability that X is greater than 1, so 2 or 3 excluding 1, is 14%, but those don't help us. What we want is our cumulative probability, P, probability of X greater than or equal to 1, so at least 1 Magical Mallet, and the probability of that is 60%. So with our simplified model, we have a 60% chance of of winning, basically. And so if we win, we get 8 rewards, and then if we lose, because again we have the campaign bonus, we get 2 rewards. So we need to do a little bit of analysis on, is this worth it? So here I have it. So we have a 60%, so 0.6% chance of 8 rewards, plus a 40% chance of 2 rewards, and that total is 5.6. So using this deck, with the assumption of drawing a magical mallet in your first 5 cards gives you the win, this farming method will average 5.6 rewards per farm. Now, the cool thing about this is this actually increases as you get more reloads, because again, reloads are the same as magical mallets. So here we can go back to the Hypergeometric Calculator. We have our population size is our deck size, that's 20. Number of successes is 4 now, because we have our 3 magical mallets and our 1 reload. Our sample size is 5 still, and the number of successes in the sample, we just need 1 of those 4 cards. We have a 20 card deck. We have 4 cards that we're interested in, and we have 5 chances to draw it, and all we want is at least 1. Alright, so we calculate, and there. So our cumulative probability of x greater than or equal to 1, x at least 1, is now 72%. Even better. So to get our 72% chance of farm success, we're going to add our newly acquired reload into our deck, and we're going to take out one of our other fairies. Say that one. So this concludes the Bandit Keith speed farming deck and mini math lesson. Thank you for watching.